Surprise. There isn't any. It isn't like you're going to die. And then you go through a process that we've discussed previously of review when you cast off feet of clay. And then and only then will you reincarnate again. And that you only get one incarnation per soul essence. Only one. Because after all, if there was only one, then it could be controlled, couldn't it? But observe yourselves carefully. Observe your psychological and philosophical models of existence. If you observe, for example, core essences of self, there is a certain perception that there are, based on core beliefs, that the self is comprised of a number of parts, each part having its own free will and free choice. Now, it's interesting that this particular concept came up in your society within the last 50, 100 years, because it provides you with an opportunity to further explore the withinness of the self. Now, by exploring the withinness of the self, by going within, in effect, by exploring the parts and the awareness that they have, from one perspective, free will and free choice, and that it takes a willingness to negotiate, a willingness to compromise, a willingness to appreciate in order for all parts to move in the same direction, it gives you then a perspective of what it means to move to a oneness with God, Goddess, the all that is, doesn't it? For in the self-exploration of yourselves as physical beings, moving into your self-philosophy, your self-psychology, your own belief structures, your own perceptions, gives you the opportunity to explore that oneness. So incarnation, by soul essence, is not a singularity, is it? No. If it was, then you'd only have one part inside of you to deal with, wouldn't you? But there are multiple perspectives within the self, each one leading in different directions, each one having its own perception of free will and free choice. So then why not then use this as the model of the existence for yourselves to recognize what incarnation is for yourselves? You are an extension, a withinness, an insideness, a going within by soul essence to explore an experience called existence, of which existence encompasses, is within soul essence and encompasses soul essence. For soul essence is within existence and is also existence within soul essence. And from that perspective then, you gain a different perception of incarnation and reincarnation and give yourselves the opportunity to explore the oneness of yourselves with God, Goddess, the all that is. Now, so really then, incarnation is not all it's cut out to be, is it? It's no longer this, there's only one of me, one soul essence, and that's all there is. There's no longer a singularity of associationship between yourself and soul essence, and therefore a singularity of associationship between yourself and God, Goddess, the all that is. There's no longer a separation when you view it on the perspective that we've discussed here. Incarnation is useful. Incarnation is joyful. But incarnation is not specifically necessary, though it is chosen. So do recognize, dear friends, that as much as you as ego personalities would say to yourselves, life sucks and I'm not coming back here and doing this again, we assure you that you will. For in truth, soul essence enjoys the perspective of moving within the self to experience an experience called existence. So yes, sorry to say, dear friends, but you're all coming back. So those of you who would think that you're going to ascend with the gates of the 1111 and move into the next dimension of reality, never ever to return. Those of you who would see yourselves as shifting your consciousness in order to never ever come back and do this again. Those of you who would like to think that somehow or another you'll never have to re-experience physical essences again. What we're saying here is your egos are taking the best of you. It is your ego that is judging your experience and saying, this is not a good experience, I want out of here. We assure your soul essence is looking at it and saying, wow, fascinating, amazing. What an experience. Let's try it again. Do you see? Which is why then you don't have just incarnation, you also have reincarnation. Darn, that takes a certain statement, isn't it? Not only do you have to come back once, but you got to do it all over again. And then you find out that you've done it again and again so many thousands of times that you get tired of it. Only ego gets tired of it, of course. You see, if you chose differently to experience your existence, and that your existence was simply a manifestation of joy, of everything that your ego could possibly choose, want, desire, then, dear friends, we assure you as ego personalities, you'd be sitting there saying, please, if I'm going to die, bring me right back. Because this is fun. I want this. But because as ego personalities, you've made choices that reduce, that harm the self from your perspective of ego, you're sitting there saying, I don't want this anymore. Get me out of here, please. Quickly. So, dear friends, shift your psychologies a little bit. Shift your belief structures, your perceptions. And all of a sudden, you begin to realize that incarnation isn't such a bad thing after all, is it? It's actually a lot of fun. Think of it from this perspective. You come, you take on the illusion of a physical body, and then when you get tired of it, you can kick it out and go get another one. You get tired of circumstances of existence. You don't like living in New Hampshire. You don't like living in Toronto. You don't like living in London, England. You don't like living in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Hey, kick the bucket and try somewhere else. Try India. Try Japan. So you have a chance to go out and try new things. You don't like poverty because you've been living on the street as a drunken bum, or because you've been living with no job, on welfare, and you're the mother of 12 children, each of them screaming at you. Hey, no problems. Kick the bucket and try living like a prince some other time. Why not? You could become another Bill Gates if you choose. Why not? Become a rich person. Become a poor person. You don't like being rich because you think everybody's fake around you? Go try poverty. See if that works. You don't like poverty? Try wealth. See if that works. You don't like wealth and poverty? Try something in between. See if that works. And that's what incarnation affords you, is an opportunity to explore different perspectives. Now, the reason that you choose to incarnate is because you can't see yourself choosing differently. Here you are, your essences, your ego personality is incarnated. You are manifested in that sense, perceived in that sense, as ego personalities. And all you can see for yourselves is that the only way out of your terms of existence, your rules and regulations, is to kick the bucket, to die, to cast off feet of clay. So you say to yourselves, hey, better get out of here so I can try this again. Why? Why not instead choose and choose differently? Why not give yourselves the experience, the opportunity to explore your existence differently?